Hello, and today we've got Angus Beith, former Hearts, Inverness and Stranraer player. Hi Angus, how are you doing today?
Good, thanks, Angus. Good to be here.
Let's start off. What's your first memory of playing football?
First memory probably would have been when I was probably about 6, playing for Hutchie Vale. That was my first proper boys' club that I played with, and I suppose it was probably the first game that I played with them. I went to training on the Tuesday, and a lot of boys went when they were more 4 or 5. I think I was 6 when I first went, and they said, "Look, you're probably not going to play for a team at the weekend, but of course you can train and play, and maybe in the future look to play in a team." But
Hutch's
I was lucky enough to, after training, they were like, "Right, let's get you in." So it was good, and then I played that weekend. So that was my first memory.
Hutch is well known for having so many great players that gone to have great careers. Was there anybody
Mhm.
in your particular team that went on to have a career in football?
Um, there's nothing like, nobody really like stands out as really notable, but Scott Taylor I think he plays for Gallagher now. Played at Kelty Hearts recently, but interestingly, I played with Lee McGregor at Hearts, who's now a boxer. So he was in my team when I was younger, um, and he was pretty much, he was there up until I left at about 10. So yeah, that's probably the most notable kind of player in the team. But obviously he's a boxer, and he's doing quite well for himself now.
Was he any good?
Yeah, he was decent. He was probably, you could see the boxer in him probably at that age. He was a wee fighter and kind of non-stop on the pitch as well. So yeah, he was decent.
Who was the first professional club you signed for?
So the first professional club was Hearts. I first went there when um, I first got my trial. I think I was 10 years old, and I signed there when I was 11 officially, and then I got my first professional contract when I was 17 there, at Hearts as well. So yeah, obviously I was at Hearts for a very long time, from 10 till I think it's 22 when I left.
What was your debut match?
Debut match was against Livingston in the Petrofac Cup. And it didn't end very well at all. We got beat 4-1. We were playing quite a young team, I think. Quite a few players got their debuts that day. Um, and yeah, it was 4-1 in the end. It wasn't a great night at all. Obviously, it's mixed, emotions, mixed feelings, because it's great to make your debut. At the same time, you want to show yourself in the best way, and obviously not let the club down. And we perhaps let the club down a little bit that night. It wasn't our best display.
What are the best and worst kits you've ever worn?
Best kit. Hmm. When I played with um, Scotland, under, I think it was 17s or 19s, really liked the kits there. Obviously, firstly because you're playing for Scotland, but also they're quite tight fitted as well, which I quite liked. I didn't like baggy kits, so that was probably one of my favourites. And for the opposite reason, the worst kit was probably Steny when I was there on loan. It wasn't like it wasn't a horrible looking kit. It was just a bit baggy, and I just didn't really like that when it's on a wet day, as it usually is in Scotland playing football. Big baggy top that's soaking wet and doesn't really help that much.
Who's the best player you swap shirts with?
Um, so I never actually swapped kits, because in the games that it was obviously that Livingston game,
Hmm.
and I played 2 against Celtic, and we got beat heavily pretty much in all of them. And the last thing you want to be seen doing as a young player is looking to swap your shirt after a heavy defeat. So um, I, I'm not gonna lie, it did cross my mind to maybe swap shirts with one of the Celtic players, but um, with the kind of manner of the defeat, and how heavy it was on the day, I stayed away from that, and thought it was best not to.
Fair enough. What are the best boots you've ever worn?
Best boots, probably the early pair of the Predators. Um, I really liked them when I was younger. That was probably when I was playing for Hutchie, playing for my school, and I think at the time I'd been scouted by Hearts, so it was kind of like a good period, and obviously you kind of associate boots, the boots that you like the best with probably the best time that you were playing on one of the good
Hmm.
moments when you were playing. So yeah, I loved the Predators when I was younger. Yeah,
What's the best stadium you've played in?
best stadium. I mean, I'd probably it was great playing at Tynecastle because um, obviously I was there for such a long time, and you work so hard to make your debut and get up to that level. So to actually play at Tynecastle was amazing, and it was pretty full on the day, which was good. Um, but I mean, I'd probably have to say, playing at Celtic Park was pretty good, although we got beat, as I say, pretty heavily on the day. It was quite a good atmosphere because I think they were heading towards I think it was title number 8 at the time. So it was quite a good atmosphere. I think I had the Kieran Tierney song in my head after the game because they just sang that pretty much the whole game. So yeah, it was decent playing there.
Who's the best player you've played against?
Well, that's a tough one. Best player I've played against. Um, I'm not I'm not sure, to be fair. Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, there was one game in particular when I was playing where we as a team, and probably myself as well, couldn't get near the players on the day, and it was a midfield. Well, two of the midfielders were Ryan Gold and Scott Fraser. And Scott Fraser in particular that day was so good. I think he's playing down at Burton now, doing quite well down there. He was really good on the day. But I mean, that's probably the only one that springs to mind right now. I've played against loads of good players and had some days where I've had the run around and training off some good players as well. Um,
Who's
Sorry, yeah, on you go.
who's the best player you've played with then?
Best player I've played with. I have to admit, I thought Sam Nicholson was so good when I played with him. Um, he just at the time he was just on fire, and there was a period where he wasn't getting into the team um, when Hearts were in the Premiership, and we had that points deduction, and he was doing everything in these under 20s games, and he was unreal, just unplayable for those months, and eventually got into the team towards the end. And he was just so good. I think I'd definitely put him right up there. But I've played with a fair few. I mean, I could name probably Jamie Walker in that. Put Jamie Walker in the same
Hmm.
kind of bracket as him, and John Suter as well. So good, excellent player. So yeah, there's quite a few.
When you were at Inverness, you unfortunately had to retire due to injury. When did you realise you were going to have to retire due to injury?
It, um, yeah, it was probably a training session, and it was really frustrating because I'd had to wait maybe an extra couple of, I think it was 2 months extra to get back up to a level where I thought I was going to be in contention to play at the weekend and maybe start playing games again. And I was actually feeling really good. I think there was a Friday session where I was allowed to train at a wee game at the end, full size game, and I felt the best I'd felt in ages. So I was starting to feel really good about myself again. And then I just had an awkward kind of shot basically where I mishit it, and my kind of I got that exact same feeling that I'd had in my hip numerous times before all the operations, and it just reoccurred again, and it was kind of jarred. It was like kind of like a catching feeling. It jarred, and I just knew then that I've had 3 operations, and this is the exact same feeling again. So it was at that moment where I kind of knew that was it. And I've done a couple of training sessions after that to try and see if I could get back to it, and it was just it was, officially done. I don't think the fourth operation was ever an option. So it was
Hmm.
difficult, really difficult. Especially when I felt at the time, I felt like I was really close to getting back. And I had that hope that maybe I'd make my debut for Inverness quite soon, and then all of a sudden it was back to square one. So it was disappointing.
What was the last game you played?
Last game I played was Stranraer v Arbroath at Stranraer's ground, and similar actually situation. I felt it that day. I managed to get through the rest of the game, but I knew that after that it wasn't right, and something had to be done about it. And again, that was another kind of heavy defeat. Sounds like I've just been on the receiving end of heavy defeats my whole career, but that was. I think we got beat 3-0 or something, or 3-1 that day. And that was when I knew that I needed another operation after that game, and it ended up being my last game.
Just finally to end on, when was the last time you had to pay for a ticket to go to a football match?
Last time I had to pay for a ticket. Actually, I don't know if I could tell you that one, Angus. No, to be fair, I went to Chelsea, Bournemouth recently, actually, down in England, and Bournemouth actually beat them on the day. Myself and my dad went down just for a day in London, and then watched the game, and we paid for them. So that was probably the last time I paid for a ticket. I can't remember the last time I paid for a ticket in Scotland though. Probably would have been maybe maybe the the Scottish Cup final, maybe at Hearts v Hibs. So yeah, that was probably the last time in Scotland I paid for a ticket.
Fair enough. Right, Angus, that wraps it up. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, thanks very much, Angus. Enjoyed that. Cheers for that.
Thank you.